Welcome to the 78th episode of the Suave Creatures podcast. Me and Rob are here, and we got a lot of
Hi.
shit to get through. Tonight is the South Carolina GOP primary tonight.
Wrong.
No, it's true. And Haley says she's going to stick it out until the end, Rob. She is not going anywhere. She wants to
Well-
be here till the end.
Well, I got a few places she could go, but
no.
dude, I don't know. It's a bad whatever. We got plenty of topics to get to. We can save time for Haley to the end, I guess.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, man. There's a whole. Well, I mean, she's going to be one of the first things we talk about. But
Oh, okay.
Trump's $355 million lawsuit sparks backlash from Kevin O'Leary and a bunch of other people saying that this is a political hit job and he did nothing wrong. So we'll be talking about that a little bit. The Teamsters filed their first donation to the GOP in 20 years. This is, as you dive deeper into the story, it's not as big a headline as it looks like, but it is significant in that they've never given this much money to a GOP candidate in 20 years. And for some reason, they think Trump's going to be the one they need to put their money behind. Food costs at a record 30-year high right now. This is in terms of percentages of how much money you're spending out of your expendable income. You're going to push something. yeah, it's crazy. I looked it up. It's not quite as bad as the Great Depression, but we're getting there.
You know what we should do with those food prices?
Put it in reverse, Terry.
Put it in reverse. That's what I say. That's my policy.
Well, as the price of food goes up, the price of everything else is going up as well. Big tech is getting even bigger and having a greater stranglehold on the market. We saw NVIDIA gained as much as a Netflix, or if another way to look at it, I heard Peter Schiff describe it, is NVIDIA went up as much as the entire gold industry. You keep missing with those buttons, man. Also, some other crazy stuff that happened this week. AT&T Shutdown this week. They say it was not a cyber attack. Other people look at it as obviously a cyber attack in preparation for stealing the next election.
And there was pharmacies. Pharmacies were the pharmacies were saying it was a cyber attack from the get-go, from what I saw. And then the news was like, no, it's a solar flare. And then someone came out and they were like, no, it's like a bug or something. So I don't know. I think it's going to be investigated. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll see. There's some interesting stories around that. Also, around the world, Russian opposition leader was found dead. The guy that was supposed to go up against Putin. What do you know? Another person rising up against Putin gets found dead. I think he died in prison too. Very Epstein-like death there. And there's a whole bunch more stuff going on. Ukraine is looking at drafting people. They're lowering the age. They've got the soldiers they have on the front line are super old. There is a whole bunch of shit to talk about, but I'm sure we're going to devolve into some sort of degeneracy. So what's up? How you doing?
And then I have a little announcement towards the end of the show as well. So
all right, cool.
I'll wait on that. Yeah.
The election is happening tonight. It's happening right now. I've got the screen up here. The results have not started to come in yet, but it's very obvious that she's going to lose. She's been making all sorts of headlines by coming out and saying, oh, there you go. Yeah, she's been making all sorts of headlines by coming out and saying like she's going to stay in until the end. And then there's all these articles written about, how she's the only hope that's going to be able to stop Donald Trump. She made a comment the other day that the next president will be female and the choice is between her and Kamala Harris. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think she's assuming some people's genders in that particular situation, which I don't take too kindly
You think
to.
Kamala's a man?
I mean, I think Michelle Obama's a man. No, I don't think the Democrats would let Kamala be the president.
You don't think so?
I don't know. Well, I think it's too late to run Michelle.
Yeah.
Because if they were gonna run someone, I think it would have been Michelle or Newsom. And I mean, Joe Biden could die, and then she's default first president. She gets that
Right.
title, first female
And
president.
I think that's what Haley was alluding to. Is she thinks that Joe Biden will probably die in office if he's reelected.
I mean, he looks bad, man. He does look bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard multiple theories about what's going to happen as far as the Democratic candidate goes. I've heard, the Michelle Obama. There's been a bunch of polls. There's actually there's betting odds about this, about Michelle Obama being one of the favorites.
Yeah, I'd like to see what the betting odds are on that one.
Betfair has Obama as the second most favored 2024 Democratic presidential nominee with odds of 8-1 or 11%, making her the highest performing alternative to Biden. She's followed by Gavin Newsom at a 12-1. She's got Vice President Kamala Harris at 15-1, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and then Elizabeth Warren and Hillary Clinton following in at 1% for Hillary.
Oh, if it's Hillary and Trump again, dude, that would be insane.
It ain't gonna be that, but
no.
There's a lot of people saying that what's gonna happen is we're gonna get to the DNC convention, and it's gonna be at the convention that they decide, Biden's going to step down. He's going to be magnanimous about it. He's just going to pass it on to the next person. And then at that point, you have a brokered convention. And because the way the DNC is set up, they have all these delegates, these super delegates that can just vote however they want. And so they're going to pick somebody. And they say, so this is the other theory I hear. Let me get what you think about this. You're saying there's no way they're going to put Kamala Harris in, but who's going to replace her? If it's not going to be Michelle Obama, because Michelle Obama in the past has said that she doesn't want to do it, wants nothing to do with it. I know a lot of people say that, but Obama speaks more than she does still. And so I don't know. I think she's happy making Netflix videos. That's what I think. And then for Gavin Newsom to come up, well, now you're saying you want to put this old white guy in front of this young black lady or younger looking black lady. And so that's not going to fly over too well either. So if you do have a brokered convention, do they really force somebody like Gavin Newsom and expect that to pull anybody? I don't know.
Yeah, when you come to a decision like that, you are going to anger like the more radical of the Democrat base. But I think overall Democrats might be happier with that product than a Biden Kamala product.
With a Newsom product?
Yeah, if you're a Democrat, I think you would feel more comfortable going into an election with a candidate that can actually debate and
Sure.
Walk and show up to things. What would be really funny though would be at the DNC if Joe Biden was to make a speech and hand the gavel to someone if he got the name wrong. Like if he was like, I can't do it anymore and replace me and fighting Donald Trump's gonna be Donald Trump. Like something stupid like that.
Yeah.
If he got the name wrong and everyone just had to clap like they always do, and the back people were like, no.
Oh yeah. I could definitely see something like that happening. My opinion is I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be Biden versus Trump. I don't think he's going to pull out. What I'm not sure about is whether or not they're actually going to debate. Stop laughing at pull out, okay?
I'm not laughing at. I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at just the thought of Biden coming into a debate and actually like just being hopped up on all sorts of drugs and killing it. Like Trump will be. He's not gonna kill it, but like Trump will be like, "What kind of drugs they put you on?" Like he's gonna say something.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, man. I don't know. And then something else that I saw related to election stuff. Georgia had their elections here recently, so I saw a bunch of that stuff in my news feed, and they were saying about the turnout. They were saying the turnout matched 2016 numbers. That 2020 numbers were overinflated by all these write-in ballots and everything. So part of what they've been looking at is what happened in 2020 and how that translates to 2024. But a huge variable there is all of those mail-in votings. And they're saying now in 2024, now that we're
all
having
the dead people that voted, you mean?
Yeah, all the dead people, everything else that happened. But they're saying like the turnout numbers are similar, if not lower, than they were in 2016. And so low turnout is never good for Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a thing for as long as I can remember. Whenever they got really excited about Bernie Sanders, I mean, he excited people outside the Democratic Party. The super delegates came in and said, no, we're going to roll with Hillary Clinton. And then Bernie just was like, no, it's okay.
That's the weird thing about the DNC is those super delegates. They just kind of, that's what keeps the establishment Democrats in line.
Right. And that's when we first learned about the super delegate. Like, that's whenever I first learned about it. That's when everyone was like, oh, wait, so the winner can just not win?
Yeah, that's why Hillary was so cocky. She's like, yeah, I don't care. You can win 5 states in a row. Doesn't fucking matter because my super delegates got me.
Evil laugh.
I don't know.
I mean,
man.
That's good, but they can still just. I don't want to get kicked off YouTube.
I don't know if you know this, but I logged into the account for the first time in a long time, and we have a warning on there that we were issued back in March of 22, I think, 23 maybe. Yeah, I think it was March 23. I don't know. But
For what?
it's actually you. It's your fault.
Oh no! What I say?
I don't know. I could probably pull it up later, but it has to do with
shit.
COVID misinformation is what it had to do with.
What? But was I right though?
We can watch it because it shows us the clip. We can watch it.
Yeah, I would like to see.
I would be interested to know, like, if that clip will get like us in trouble again. Like, if YouTube's like, you fucked up because of this thing right here, and then we play that thing right there on YouTube again. We're like, here, let's analyze this. Did we really fuck it up?
Yeah, sure. Let's yeah, because then we reiterate like, yeah, no, we were right, and then it just strikes us again. You're right. We'll look at it. We'll look at it after.
I think we do it on air. See what happens. Because it's so weird. Because like, all that stuff.
Funny. Watch me say like, you can't catch a fake disease or something like that.
No, it was actually very straightforward. The clip that I saw. But, yeah, we can get there.
Oh, you already watched it. You ruined it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so we're kind of on COVID already. So like, we can go through some of the science news that came out about COVID. The largest COVID vaccine study just came out recently. This one was posted by MSN. Let me see. Can I share this here? There we go. Largest COVID vaccine study yet finds links to health conditions. Who'da thunk it, huh? And I love that the person getting the shot is wearing a Banana Republic and California t-shirt.
Wow.
Anyway.
Is this misinformation, YouTube?
Hey, look.
Is this what you're talking about?
Daddy Microsoft told me that this is true. Okay. Actually, the story comes from Bloomberg, so bring it up with them. Vaccines that protect against severe illness and death, lingering long COVID symptoms for coronavirus infection were linked to small increases in neurological, blood, and heart-related conditions. I mean, this, and when you go through it, it's all the ones you would expect. The mRNA shots, the Pfizer shots, Moderna's listed here. These are all the ones. And so basically, when you read through this, the research looked at 13 medical conditions that the group considered adverse events of special interest among the 99 million vaccinated individuals in 8 countries. That's how big the study was. That's how many things they looked at. Aiming to identify higher than expected cases after a COVID shot. The use of aggregated data increased the possibility of identifying rare safety signals that might have been missed when looking at small populations. Myocarditis was consistently identified following a first, second, and third dose of mRNA vaccines, the study found. So the more shots of that shit you took, the higher your chances were of getting these diseases. But the whole point of this is, this thing came out. This came out 5 days ago. That's about when I saw it. I think I saw it like a day or two after it came out. And it's like, it just confirms everything. And, going back to what you said on YouTube that got us in trouble or whatever, like what you were saying in that clip was we were talking to Jeffrey Hahn and you said something about.
Oh, that's fucking. Well, that's why we got a warning.
Or it wasn't even him. It was you. If you watch the clip here.
Who'd have thought that with an episode with Jeffrey Hahn, he wouldn't have gotten us to strike, and I would. But he's okay. I'm still gonna blame him because he's bringing the ideas onto the show. You hear that, Jeffrey? I'm blaming you, and you're welcome on the show anytime.
So the return of Jeffrey Hahn, medical misinformation was the policy that we allegedly violated. So I go in here to see. I was trying to see if I could clear it up, right? Like, what do I got to do to clear it up? So you begin the review of it. So they give us the clip here. So look, I didn't touch anything. This is where it fucking starts at, right? Okay. Tell me if you can hear this.
Allegedly.
Do you hear that?
I said allegedly.
Okay. Yeah. See, you start.
I said allegedly.
Allegedly. Let's continue.
This vaccine committee found that the second booster caused this child to die. So the parents got $100,000, which is $100,000 enough for your child's life. If you're listening to this podcast right now, that's nothing. That's nothing.
Nope.
For a life, we're talking $100,000 for probably one of the biggest orchestrated and mass carried out conspiracies between big corporations and big governments. They made billions, if not trillions of dollars.
Yeah, they made over. I know Pfizer alone, I think, is past 60 billion now.
Okay, so they obviously not talking about how much money they were made or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe they got you for saying the word conspiracy. I don't know, but you were the only one talking in the clip that they shared.
I said what I said. I said what I said. I mean,
you listed any problem. So YouTube does not allow content that poses a serious risk of egregious harm by spreading medical misinformation about currently administered vaccines that are approved and confirmed to be safe and effective.
oh shit, YouTube. Oh shit, YouTube. Can you pull that article up that you just had up? Safe and effective, my red asshole. Dude, like and I'm talking about a court case. I think if I remember correctly, that case was in Germany or somewhere in Europe, in the EU, where this family did get $100,000 in damages for vaccine injury. I can't remember completely what the details were. Like Tim said, it was over a year and a half ago that episode was.
Well, that's what I was kind of hoping too, is like if I brought it up, you would remember what the hell you were talking about. Because I watched the clip and I was like, okay, he said something about some legal case or some bullshit, some story that happened. And you do start the clip off.
To be fair, I did. Yeah, to be fair, I did. Again, I did say allegedly, and there was an actual case there. So fuck YouTube. And you know what? In the review it says that's been proven to be safe and effective, and now we see it's been proven to be very not safe and effective.
And that's kind of why I think like we'll be okay sharing it now too, because if you
wait, let me correct myself. Very not safe and effective for those who have been injured by the vaccine or a 4th or 5th dose of the booster. Because some people take it and they're perfectly fine, but they still can get COVID, right? They can still get COVID.
Oh yeah, of course.
We were told they couldn't get COVID after it
for 2 days. Then 2 days later, they're like, "Well, no." I just thought it was interesting that as I was logging into the account, I see all these stories about all this news about it. Like there's another article here that says it turns out COVID-19 vaccine mandates didn't work. I thought you and I already knew this, but
and this is the whole Google thing. I don't know if you had it in there. The whole the Gemini thing where they messed up and were like excluding white people from all their generated AI images. You know, YouTube's owned by Google and Alphabet, and so it's run by left-leaning people, and they're biased in that way. So that just comes out in their policies. That's just how it is, and that's their excuse. Every time it's like, well, we're inclusive. Like, well, you just excluded like white people, which makes up like 71% of America, 61 to 71% of America.
What do you mean the AI excluded them?
Okay, so I don't want to go on a whole tangent because I could on this one. So Gemini was Google's AI project that they were working on that generated image. It's basically like their Chat GPT, right? So what people were going on there and they were asking like, hey, generate an image of George Washington or the founding fathers, and they were all black. And it's like, that's just not how that happened. Or yeah, even the redheaded libertarian, Josie, she did.
They were like, Denzel Washington's black, therefore George Washington must be black.
He said generate an image of ginger people, and it did black people with red hair and freckles. And you could not get it to generate an image of a white person. And when Google became aware of this, they took the function of making people down. So I don't know if it's back up yet. I don't think it is. And now people are exposing the political bias for it today by asking it to write a paragraph in the form of Donald Trump or Joe Biden. And it'll do it for Joe Biden. But for Donald Trump, it'll say like, we want to be inclusive, blah, 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 blah. So we're not going to generate that.
Because they think he's going to say a bunch of racist shit.
Yeah. So the thought is allegedly, YouTube, allegedly that Google has interjected, the workers and the team at Google have interjected their biases deep into this billion-dollar project for Google and absolutely ruined it and made it biased as shit.
Did you see Elon Musk's Neuralink? They're finally doing human test trials.
Yeah, it got implanted in the first guy, right?
Yeah,
first human. I don't know. I didn't see the results of it.
Well, I mean, they're doing the first human trials right now. They say that the recipient can move the mouse on a computer screen just by using his mind. They call it like, I think the code name for it is telepathy or telepathic something. Very original, right? But that capability by itself isn't really that new. We've been able to do that for a long time, just with like bigger rigs. I guess this one is unique because it's so small. It's so small. Like I think they said cosmetically you can't tell that someone will have it, but it just goes inside your little brain there, and you can do whatever you want. I don't know. Neuralink is crazy. What do you think about Elon Musk and Neuralink?
I think it's good for those who are going to be doing like the people who are blind or disabled or something like that, and he's going to be able to allow them to see or walk or however they're doing that. That stuff is good. I'm worried about the possibilities of it spreading to like the general public, and then people being like, I'm reading your thoughts, I'm reading your thoughts, I'm reading your thoughts, and I'm like,
Yeah, I think it'll be like more integrated, right? Like right now, people use they have phones, and we went from like landlines to cell phones to smartwatches, and then like I think the phone will probably be the first thing that's like commercially viable. And if your cell phone can cause low fertility and give you ball cancer, I can't imagine what it's going to do to your brain. That's one thing that I think about. But I think like the first like real use of it is kind of like what we're seeing with AI right now, is like you're able to go to a website and type in a prompt and it gives you all this stuff. Well, instead of doing that, you just think about it. Like, you know, what is myocarditis? And then it just in your brain kind of like either reads it off to you or somehow gives you that knowledge.
don't worry about it, Tim.
Yeah, it's fake
Take
news.
another booster shot. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely how it's gonna be.
I mean, it's gonna be like, I mean, even the Apple, to me, even the Apple the goggles or whatever they're calling them now, those things are crazy now too. People are just walking around moving shit around.
I haven't seen anybody use that, but what I will say is like people said the same thing about gaming. They said like, oh, when VR gets big, you know, everybody's gonna have a VR headset, and that's gonna be the future of gaming. You won't play with a controller anymore. No, that's not true. Like
I don't know. My dad was bragging about even the Meta one that's like way cheaper, I guess.
Yeah.
He was like, it's like you're there. And I was like, and you see through it? He said you can see through it.
He's an old man.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was playing a PlayStation 2. You ever play Final Fantasy X? Old ass game, right? PlayStation 2. Yeah. I brought that over to my great grandparents' house, and they were telling me how realistic it looked. And I guess at the time, like it was way more realistic than anything anyone had seen. But you look back on it now, that shit does not look realistic at all.
Yeah, my grandparents did the same thing with like football games on the 360. And have you seen the videos of the grandparents being shown Grand Theft Auto and they think it's real?
The new one?
No, it's Grand Theft Auto 5.
I could believe with those bitches dancing on the hoods of cars and shit. I could totally believe that.
No, I mean that's gonna trick some people too. But
they see San Andreas and they're like, Carl's very scary.
Wait, I gotta show you this if you haven't seen it.
Go ahead.
They're showing their grandparents Grand Theft Auto,
no.
And they convinced her that it was the real news.
Yeah, go ahead.
Crazy God! Oh, is he stupid?
Oh, is he stupid? He's sitting right next to you.
Oh my God!
He's still going.
Boy, they ought to be.
See that? Those are the Utah mountains right there. See that?
Yep, there they are.
Oh, what a dumbass.
Oh my God.
I just want to see him like hit a guardrail or something. His character goes flying through the screen and it says wasted. She's like,
there's a better one where it's like a Hispanic grandma and she's like, adios mio. But yeah, I mean, that's gonna be us. That's inevitably gonna be us. Whenever
I'm never gonna be that old. I'm gonna die first.
You think you're gonna be one of those? Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, if you get to be that age, whatever your kids and grandkids are gonna show you, it's gonna be mind blowing. I mean, maybe, hopefully.
I don't know how much further visual technology can go. Like, look at like 4K gaming, right? How much greater can the graphics really be to where they're realistic? It already looks realistic. If you get like some of the highest quality stuff, like it looks realistic already. So how do you get more real than real? Then you pass that, what do they call it? The uncanny valley. Like you pass that horizon where it's so real that you know it's fake.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be like immersiveness. I think that's gonna be the next thing. Like we're talking about VR. That's the next thing. They just got to get better at it. And then somehow when you put the thing on, you just enter a state.
That's the other thing though, is I don't think that like you saw Ready Player One, like where everybody just spent their whole day like in the VR suit and like all the time. That's what they did. I don't think we're ever gonna get to that point. I know a bunch of people that have VR headsets, and I thought about buying one, but they're like, $1,000 for the Steam Index alone. And that doesn't include the sensors and all the other shit. But even if the price point was lower, everybody I know that owns one tells me the same thing. They're like, oh yeah, this is great, but it's only great in short sessions. Like you don't want to wear it all the time. It's very uncomfortable or whatever. So until they fix that problem, I mean, it's not an unfixable problem. I guess if you get a Neuralink tapped into your head, you can do whatever you want.
So that's what I'm saying. So it's in your brain. So it's like, okay, when you play the game, we inject you with DMT, and then you're just completely out of it, and you think you're in this thing, and then it controls you somehow like that.
Don't you think though? Because I know you play a lot of games too. For me, it would like kill the competitiveness. Like one of the things that frustrates me the most about playing video games is when I'm playing a competitive game against somebody else I know is cheating, and I feel like if you have like Neuralink, like, okay, think about how Neuralink is supposed to work. The cursor goes wherever you think you want it to go. Okay, click on Rob's head. Just keep clicking on Rob's head over and over again. Doesn't that get boring for me and boring for you?
Yeah, and then what do you have people trying to tear out the Neuralink just out of frustration, like people raging in games now?
Instead of breaking your controller, you just rip your brain out.
I don't want to do that.
What are you, stupid?
Get out of my head. Yeah. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
I think it would ruin the game though. I like the whole point of it is like I can click your head faster than you can click mine. And
yeah,
like,
but then your grandkids are going to be like, yeah, you want to stick your controller, Grandpa?
It depends if I'm playing Call of Duty or not. If so, then yes. Because, if everyone else has aim assist, I want it too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Anyway,
I mean, we derailed it. Where are we even at? There's no update on the South Carolina primary. I got it up here. I'm watching.
Okay, cool. The polls are going to close in about 20 minutes. I think everybody knows what's going to happen. The question is, how much is she going to get beat by? There was a funny article that I was reading that was saying, why is Nikki Haley even still in the race? The first, it starts off the article by saying like, oh, she's definitely going to lose. Like everybody knows she's going to lose. So if knowing that, why is she in the race? Some people think it's because she wants to run again in 2028. I think she's got no shot. I think the longer she stays in the race, the more she burns that bridge, and she's not going to be able to win. The other suggestion was, well, maybe she wants to be VP and she's trying to show how strong of a candidate she is. Again, I think the longer she opposes Donald Trump, the more that's going to work against her. The other thing was to become the next leader of the GOP. Well, if you don't defeat Trump and Trump's people, then how does that make any sense? And the final conclusion was, well, if none of that makes any sense, then maybe no one knows, and not even her. And I was like, oh, so you're saying the woman doesn't know what she wants out of life?
Yeah,
so,
I think Vivek, I wish he would have stayed in the race a little. Like as long as Nikki Haley's in the race, Vivek should have stayed in the race. But I get it. He didn't do that well, and I guess wanted to drop out and support Trump. But now, if Trump does get arrested or if something happens to him, right, then the GOP's got to look at Haley and be like, fuck you, or okay, we got to roll with you. And I don't know. She's a Democrat basically.
Does him getting arrested, that doesn't disqualify him though? He could win the presidency from prison.
Yeah, but I don't know if the GOP would still roll with it.
Yeah, but the GOP doesn't have the superdelegate problem that the DNC has.
Right. Yeah, I do think most Trump voters would be like, I don't care. I'm still voting for him. He's in prison.
I think the more they come after him, the more people want to support him.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like there was another article I saw about this that was talking about, if Trump was to lose some of these cases, would that have an effect on the electorate so far as that Trump wouldn't get the nomination or he would lose? I think the answer to that is obviously no. Like, I think people just view him as like the underdog. He's being targeted by the system and all this stuff. In this recent case, this $355 million lawsuit that he just lost, like, have you been looking at that at all, Mr. Lawyer?
I haven't looked into it. I have watched some videos of people talking about it, saying this was the property on Mar-a-Lago that he had claimed what the value was, and they were saying it wasn't. And then I saw people looking up properties around what this property was.
I want to show I have a clip here. It's a couple minutes long, but it's Kevin O'Leary talking about the whole thing and what he saw with it.
Yeah, I definitely saw this one.
Kevin, you had mentioned, and it was a very profound kind of comment, that some of these other businesses do have right to be concerned, whether they like Donald Trump or not. Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Well, this award, just leaving the whole Trump thing out of it and seeing what occurred here, and I'm no different than any other investor. I'm shocked at this. I can't even understand or fathom the decision at all. There's no rationale for it. And so let me give you a real-time experience I'm having regarding this, and I'm not the only one. It doesn't matter what the governor says. New York was already a loser state. Like California is a loser state. There are many loser states because of policy, high taxes, uncompetitive regulation. It was already on the top of the list of being a loser state. I would never invest in New York now, and I'm not the only person saying that. And here's a real-time situation. In development in real estate right now, the hottest asset class is very high-end data centers. Now, you need power. So New York has Niagara Falls. Normally, you'd consider that to put in one of these facilities. I have to syndicate that debt and all that equity. We're talking billions of dollars here. Do you think any foreign institution or any private equity firm or any pension fund would touch New York? No. And that's why New Yorkers should be concerned. The fine people of New York should ask themselves, why are we such a loser state? How are we going to attract business? It's not just the existing businesses that are fleeing out to Texas and Florida. What about new money like this that I'm talking about, like a $4 billion data center? Not a chance I would put that in New York. Zero probability, never. And so they've got a lot of work to do to find themselves getting out of this situation. This has all occurred post-pandemic. Winner states versus loser states. Look at Tennessee right now, fastest growing city in America, Nashville. Winner state, good policy, competitive taxes. You've got to start thinking about this in the context of winners and losers. New York, mega loser state.
So, Kevin, what do you think of Governor Hochul saying?
Yeah. Oh, let me see if he finishes.
This is like a unique one and done because Donald Trump went too far and was so nefarious.
I'm glad I kept it going.
You guys, if you're just doing what you should be doing, you have nothing to worry about. But they're very worried about it.
Yeah, we're very worried. Every investor's worried because where is the victim? Who lost money? This is some arbitrary decision a judge made. This policy and what this says, what does this say about the bar, the legal bar in New York? Aren't they going to question this judge? What is this? $355 million and there's dollars as a penalty and there's plus interest at 9% and there's no victim? I mean, I'm sorry, her words fall on deaf ears to everybody. There's nothing she can say to justify this decision. And this has nothing to do with Trump. Nothing to do with Trump. Forget about Trump. This is not a Trump situation. This is a New York problem now. The whole world is looking at this saying, what are you doing to yourselves?
I'm glad it played on to the end there because that's been her like comments after this. Immediately, like when it happened, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, we got Trump. Oh yeah, he's so fucking screwed." You know, he said he only has $400 million in cash, and this fine is $350 million with interest. That's $450. We've bankrupted Trump. We fucking did it. He's dead. And then on top of that, there was another section of the judgment that basically said that him and his children can't do business in New York as far as real estate goes. Like they've basically been banned from the state. So of course, this super liberal state is like, oh yeah, this is fucking great. This is awesome. Then it sits for a day and the Trump hate goes away and everybody else is like, well, wait a minute. What if I want to invest here? What if I just so happen to have the wrong politics or whatever? Then the judge comes out and says, oh, no, you guys have nothing to worry about. This is just a Trump thing. This is just because it's Donald Trump we did this. It's just because of him and his policies and whatever. And like Kevin just pointed out there, there's no victim in any of this shit. Everything that happened, like, so the accusation is that Trump lied about the value of his assets when he applied for a loan.
Right.
Okay. When you go to buy a fucking house, they ask you, how much money do you make? You tell them. They don't just fucking take your word for it. They ask you for pay stubs. They want to talk to your employer. They want your tax records. They want to see everything to make sure that what you're telling them is true. And it's the same thing when you sell a piece of property. When I've sold 2 houses in my life so far, and I'll probably sell more. Every time it's the same thing. I put it on the market for what I think it's worth. Before somebody else is able to buy it, the bank comes in and says, okay, you say the property's worth this much. Let's go ahead and look at all these comps. Let's do all those things you were talking about before. Let's see what the other properties in the area are selling for. Let's see how much it's actually worth. And then the bank decides whether or not it's a good loan. What's even more interesting about this case is Donald Trump is being charged with fraud. However, the loan, not only was the loan, investigated by the bank, approved by the bank, and did all this stuff, they charged him interest for the loan. He paid off the fucking loan. No, that's what Kevin means when he says no victim. He paid the loan. He doesn't even owe any money. No investors were defrauded. Everybody got paid. Everybody was happy with the deal when it was arranged. They were happy with the deal when it was done. But then some political fucking judge decided that, right before he decides to run for re-election, hey, we're coming after you and we're taking your shit.
Yeah. Well, seeing as they're getting backlash, his legal team, they're going to appeal this decision. It looks like a week ago Trump said he's gonna appeal. So we'll see if they accept that appeal, and then I'll be looking forward to seeing what the result of that is, and how the appeals court deals with the arguments that were set forth in the regular court. New York's different with how they title their levels of their court. But I mean, I think he appeals, and I don't know who the appeals judge is going to be. But if they see all this backlash going on and they look at just the law on it, and I don't know, maybe Trump goes and gets this thing appraised again. And if you reinforce this is going to be hell, because like they're going to appeal. And
of course,
I think they gotta accept it. But on top of that, Trump's Truth Social, he's gonna be going public with that IPO with that, and his shares were worth what, $4 billion. So he might just write them a check. I saw something on that where if it goes public and he's able to share that, then he can stick New York with like just some shares of Truth Social. Just like take those.
You shouldn't fucking give them anything, dude. Like they don't deserve nothing. Like this is ridiculous. And like what Kevin's getting at is like anybody can be tried. Like if you have the wrong politics, that's it. That's all it takes. And it just takes like some random judge, some random, you get one of these Soros prosecutors or whatever. You get something like that. You say something wrong about somebody and they just decide they want to come after you and take all your stuff.
Yeah, and they would do this. But I mean, for people like Kevin O'Leary, he's doing the right thing. He's taking his business elsewhere, and that's what more people have to do. I mean, I'm just as guilty as anyone of supporting things and products and companies that I probably should not be supporting with my dollar. But that's just the state of our society right now.
I don't know. Like people say a lot of like stuff about Amazon and Apple and all the terrible things that they're involved in or whatever. You make a good product, I'm gonna buy the shit. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like people are rocking with like the same people who are calling for, who are against all these humanitarian injustices, right? Like, of course, I'm with you there, but they're gonna rock Nike shoes that were made in sweatshops. They're gonna be typing on a computer that was made in China, an iPhone that was made in China, all that. So I'm not saying there's nothing you can do. There's obviously a whole bunch of stuff you could do.
More money.
Yeah, you could do. Like we could have American companies, and then it costs $20,000 for an iPhone.
What frustrates me is nobody asks why it costs so much more in America. Like nobody looks and says like, well, why is it that an iPhone costs so much more money made in America? I don't know. Maybe something to do with all these fucking unions and labor laws and all this fucking bullshit about regulations and all this stuff,
Minimum wage. Yeah, even minimum wage.
Oh, dude, you just reminded me. I don't have it pulled up here. There was a recent candidate for some office somewhere, doesn't fucking matter, but unironically, I think it was California actually, unironically called for $50 minimum wage.
I saw that. I saw this clip. I can't remember everything she said, but yeah, she was calling for it for McDonald's workers, or was it just the whole state in general?
I think it was a minimum wage for the whole state.
Yeah, the problem here, obviously me and you agree on this. The problem with this that Democrats and lefties always have is they say wages aren't keeping up with inflation. Wages aren't keeping up with the cost of living, and so they offer a temporary solution, but that solution is always raising the minimum wage, which in turn is going to raise prices even more instead of treating the actual solution, right? It's the classic rung on the ladder theory that you're taught like in the workplace. If you are raising the minimum wage, basically you're cutting the bottom rungs out of a ladder where people who are just starting off can't get on the ladder.
Yeah, they can't start.
And now robots are able to climb on the ladder, so like it's even worse.
Yeah. Now they're going to be
robotic
replaced.
ladder. Yeah, robotic AI ladder theory now.
The great replacement was real. It's just not what you thought.
And so I don't know if I was succinct, like maybe I was clear for you, but the theory is you lower the minimum wage and you allow people to be more competitive and negotiate for what their value actually is. That way employers feel more comfortable paying you for what they see your value as. And then you're just free to say, no, I don't want to work for $6. Or you're free to say, yeah, I'll take this job for $6 and maybe eventually I can work my way up. And like libertarians aren't necessarily against unions per se. We're against being forced to pay into unions. And unions are a way of negotiating with the employer. Like that's something that should be available.
Yeah, everything you said about minimum wage is absolutely right. When I was working in my younger years, my first job was at McDonald's. I went to Wendy's one day for lunch and I saw they were hiring. I said, how much y'all paying? At the time I was getting like $5.50 an hour and they were like, oh yeah, we start at $6. I was like, okay, I'll put in an application. And I got the job because I had the experience. And then I learned from that experience that, hey, every couple months or so, I could go walk down the street and see who's paying more and just keep jumping jobs until about a year later, I was making $10 an hour, which at that time was insane to me. It was like, oh shit, $10 an hour. This is back when Fight for 15 was happening. And I remember then everybody was saying like, oh, you need $15 to be on a living wage and all this kind of stuff. And I would tell those guys, because I would be like a manager at this point. And so I'm like, if you want another job, just go find one. Like they're fucking everywhere. Like if you want to have more money. And then one guy, I got in this argument with this kid and he was telling me, he was a pizza delivery driver. And he was telling me that he didn't make enough money. If you averaged his tips and his salary, he was actually making like something like $15, $16 an hour, which isn't a lot of money now, but this is like 15 years ago. Yeah. It's like he was doing okay. And he's like, oh, I don't make enough money. I deserve more, all this stuff. I said, dude, if you want the money, just realize that your value is more and then just go somewhere else and apply. Because if you really are that hard of a worker, you have all this experience you're talking about, put that shit in an application and go apply and go get the job.
And he was like, fuck Pizza Hut. I'm going to go to Papa John's.
That's not what he said. What he said is that I was being ridiculous and that there was plenty of money there at the store and the store should have paid him more. This is a mom and pop pizza joint.
That's another point on the minimum wage debate that happens often is when you raise minimum wage, you actually harm smaller businesses because now they can't afford to pay employees what larger employers can pay employees. And larger employers will pay that just to cut out competitors like mom and pop businesses. So
yeah, Walmart's notorious for doing that. They support raising the minimum wage because it gets rid of all the other department stores and then they can be the only game in town.
Yeah. So if you see this clip and you're like a lefty or neutral or something like that, and you're for raising the minimum wage, it's counterintuitive. It really is. Lowering the minimum wage or just cutting it out completely, it does more for what you actually want than raising the minimum wage to $50 an hour. And I don't see how that's not apparent. Like you keep raising the minimum wage from when it's been raised, inflation's gone up, everything's gone up. And, you know, I know the White House and people from the media will tell you that inflation's down. It's not fucking down. Go buy eggs. It's not. Go buy go do anything. Oh, here we go. Perfect segue. Perfect fucking segue. Yeah, okay. I remember, this is just me. I don't know if Florida prices are different. I remember when I could buy 2 McDoubles and fries.
Yeah, $3 right there.
Maybe a Coke, and it was like $8, and it's like $20-something. I'm not doing it anymore. And the food's poison. Not to mention the food is poison.
What do you think that they're going to say the reason for this is?
Oh, I mean, is it in the article already? Because
yeah, of course. They're going to try to explain it, right?
I think maybe they blame Donald Trump. Somehow I think I'm close to getting the answer right.
You know, not 100%, but you know, I guess. Every few weeks since last fall, receipts for an $18 Big Mac at a Connecticut rest stop have gone viral online. These TikTokers are saying things like McDonald's is getting too cocky, raising their prices. Inflation has been a hot button issue since the early days of the pandemic, stoked by both supply chain disasters and international conflict, but now consumers are desperate for relief. In the past decades, fast food has been a reliable source of hot and cheap meals, but even the price of value meals of basics are on the rise. In some locations, a single McDonald's hash brown costs over $3, $4.29 for a McChicken. Just for the McChicken. That used to be $1.
It's not, and it's not real chicken.
Whatever. It was a good meal. I love the shit out of them McChickens.
Oh, I do too. I'm just saying you're paying that for not a chicken, half a chicken maybe.
This ain't no McValue. These are McPrices, and they're just regular McPrices. Donald's CEO has recently come out and said that the company will be focusing on affordability next quarter. However, in the meantime, $18 Big Mac has become both a symbol of consumer anxiety as well as an unexpected economic flashpoint in which Democrats have to contend with. It goes on to say, it's worth noting that while McDonald's franchises set their own prices, there are a few factors underpinning the large surge. The cost of commodity goods, including beef, cattle, grain, and basic ingredients of the burger, all have risen globally. Supply chain disruptions during the pandemic meant that certain drive-through staples like paper and napkins and coffee cups were low on the ground and even more expensive for chains to produce. Additionally, the price of minimum wage labor has supported the fast food industry in decades is finally on the rise. So all these other things have hurt us, but the price of minimum wage labor is affecting it, but it's finally on the rise. That's a good thing.
In their article, they're like, it's on the rise, it's good, but the prices are going up. So they're like, they're not seeing the forest through the trees.
The tone of the article is like, all of these bad things are working against it, but at least the pay's going up. But the pay doesn't afford the burger. You don't make the correlation there that the cost of labor is a cost to the burger that has to be paid by somebody.
And then your dollar isn't going as sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. So the Republican Party has been quick to politicize rising fast food prices, tying them to purchases for a higher minimum wage. So the Republican Party, according to this article, is correctly pointing out that high prices in labor is what's driving the cost. For instance, as Vox reported in 2021, the RNC released an official statement blaming Joe Biden's socialist stimulus bill for the fact that Chipotle was raising its menu prices by 4% in order to cover the cost of employee wages.
Can I make a point there? If you're going to blame Biden's socialist stimulus bill, then you should also be blaming Trump's socialist stimulus bill that kind of started us off on this trajectory that went straight north with printing money in the Fed. You got to do both, Republicans.
Yeah.
You got to afuera. They will never. And I mean, Biden's obviously doing more because he did a stimulus and now Ukraine and Israel spending too. So there's that. But yeah, they're not seeing the forest through the trees here because the bigwigs aren't going to lose money. They're not going to take pay cuts. So they're like, my salary's going to stay the same. I got to pay people more. So we're raising prices on all of our food. It's as simple as that. That's what happens every single time.
Yeah. It goes on to talk about this political journalist or whatever. She goes, this has become an increasing problem for Democratic legislators and economists who so far have failed to deliver the message that the economy is actually doing great. Did you know that, Rob? The economy is actually doing great. What you think is stupid. The economy is actually doing really, really well.
Yeah, I hear them saying that. And what they're pointing to are big corporate profits. I mean, yeah, when you inject billions, maybe even trillions of dollars into the economy and give it directly to large corporations, they're going to have more dollars. You, the consumer, the middle class, working class person, you're not going to have more dollars. You're going to be spending more money at the grocery store.
Yeah, you actually, I don't know if you did this on purpose or not, but you actually led into this one really well.
No, I didn't. I don't even have that one pulled up, actually.
Okay, so yeah, because this is one I pulled today. It was posted earlier today. They're saying the economy's doing well because all of these stocks are doing really well. In the opening of the show, I was talking about how NVIDIA increased its value by one whole Netflix or the entire gold industry. Those were some of the comparisons that were being made to the amount that the stock has gone up. And the stock prices generally are on the rise. And it's a lot of these big tech firms and all this kind of stuff. So just today, this article comes out that Berkshire Hathaway boasts profits of 97 million. But when you actually keep reading down, nobody's worried about Warren Buffett, falling asleep at night. He's got plenty of money. But he's a very savvy investor. If you're ever like trying to invest, he's one of the people that I like to listen to because he's very smart in what he says.
Him and Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, I guess. I don't really listen to her. Her stock portfolio does really well though.
Yeah.
So some of Warren Buffett's divisions added $97.1 billion in revenue last year. His stock investments and cash producing assets all performed very well. However, there were some areas of his business that went down. Railroad and utilities were that. So they're having problems like shipping freight. This is something that I see.
What, do you stick to the Monopoly board?
Dude, I'm so glad you made that joke because I was thinking the same thing when I was reading this. I was like, wow, Warren Buffett's really bad at Monopoly. The railroads and utilities. they're fucking, you just can't make it. But anyway, railroading utilities are going down. And so that's where he's been
There have been a lot of derailments. There's been a lot of derailments the past year and a half, right?
I've heard that. Yeah, there's been derailments. All the stuff that's happening overseas with Israel and Gaza and Ukraine and Russia, all those kind of things have effect on supply chain. Also, obviously, pandemic stuff. He attributes a lot of those losses to shipping volumes. As far as the utility goes, he's saying forest fires are having a huge effect on that as well. So California not being able to take care of their forest fire problem.
You see, where we used to be able to put the boxes of product, there's now Mexicans there. And we just don't have enough room for the boxes with all these Mexicans.
Yeah. So Warren Buffett is sitting on a lot of cash. I don't know if you know this. He's made all these profits, but in this article, Buffett says, I have all this extra money, but I'm not going to spend it anywhere. And one of the reasons that he cites for why he's not looking to invest his money anywhere just yet is because of excessive regulation. He says there's too much regulation out there. This is kind of what Kevin was talking about earlier when he was saying that, these are loser states out there. I know of a couple different companies that have made the active choice to pull out of California and other states like that because they're not going to waste money on these regulations. The regulations make it so unprofitable. It's like opportunity cost, right? You could spend your money in California and you could get 10 cents on your dollar, or you could go to Tennessee and get 50 cents on your dollar. Why would you do that?
Mr. Buffett, I humbly ask that, if you do want to spend your money, just invest a little bit into the Libertarian Party, and maybe we'll win some elections, and we can cut all these pesky regulations that you're talking about. I mean, we'll do like Javier Milei's doing over in Argentina. He's now at a surplus in Argentina on their budget for the first time in I don't know what is it. Yeah, I think it's at 12 years. I don't know, but now they're in a surplus because he cut all these government industries and departments and everything like that.
I have to look see like how he's actually doing. I haven't followed up with him at all. Sounds like you've been seeing what he's been doing.
Yeah, I just tweeted Benny. Benny Johnson. He's a political pundit and he's
friend of the show, as they say.
Oh yeah, friend of the show. He's conservative. He reposted Javier and Trump apparently met, and Javier like hugged him and stuff like that. Basically, I just said if Republicans love Javier and libertarian policies there, but in the U.S. they're highly against libertarians. They actively fight against libertarians and our policies. So if they like it so much, why not embrace us? Why
do you think it is that Donald Trump and everybody has to appeal to libertarians all the time? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I mean, I think because a majority of people who are voting Republican, they're not neocons, they're not really in with the establishment Republicans, but it's the only viable option, right? That's why Ron Paul ran as a Republican. That's why a lot of people do. So I think that's why they have to appeal to that, to steal votes from people who would otherwise be independent or libertarian. But one thing I did say on there was our national convention is in D.C. this year, and no one's even talking about protesting any of this at any sort of governmental monument or the White House or anything like that. I think we should walk over to wherever's closest and protest Israel, Ukraine, all this funding. We can protest whatever we want.
Israel? That's what you just said? Clip it.
Clip it. The war. The funding of the war in Israel. The funding of any wars, really. Just how about funding? Maybe we can march over to the Fed. That'd be fun.
Well,
I'm not talking about inciting violence.
Zelensky recently said that if he doesn't get the support from America or from anyone else, that they're going to have to start doing whatever it takes because it's a fight for survival. And apparently they're not doing that well. He also said that the cost of not supporting Ukraine will be much more expensive in the future if we don't support them now. And Brett Baer asked him about Tucker Carlson's interview with Putin, and he said it was 2 hours of bullshit. He didn't have time to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think he's factoring in the expenses of Putin pulling a Hitler and taking over all of Europe.
That's what he thinks, yeah.
That's what he truly probably thinks. And that's what all these crazy lefties think, and neocon, I won't even say lefties. That's what all of the establishment war machine wants you to believe, because it will be more expensive if he takes over Europe and then we have to fight a full war, but that's not going to fucking happen.
So are you saying that it's okay for Russia to take Ukraine because it's only Ukraine and nobody cares about it?
No, I'm saying, in my personal view, the whole Tucker interview, I don't think Putin's right for laying out the whole historical claim to these lands, because then he would lump in all of the other former Soviet states too, right? But I think what he wants is the Donbass region and then the other region, which are ethnically Russian. They've held, do the finger quotes on this, elections in those regions, and the results from those elections have been pro-Russian.
So we should take Canada because they're ethnically American.
Yeah, or France. France should come. Yeah.
France should come take Canada.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think Canada would be better if France was in charge of it?
I think they have room. I think that there's only like 30 something million people in Canada, right? They're like, there's not many. They could make room for some French people, or
I don't know what's worse.
Jewish
dude.
people.
Look,
we could have Israel in Canada.
Canada has syrup, Canadian bacon. What does France have? Fucking tiramisu or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, they have
like, loose women. That's what you want them for.
They have croissants. They have croissants. The croissants aren't bad. I mean, you can get a good croissant here. But like the whole time I was watching that interview, I was like, why can't our president do an hour-and-a-half interview?
Oh, you know why?
That's the whole thing. I could, but not to bring it back to I don't know. I just don't think funding this, like keeping the war machine go, like you look at the people you were talking about earlier. Ukraine's about to start drafting more people. They're already picking people up. They've been drafting people. They've been picking people up out of the streets. And we're not talking about supporting like some great democracy. Like Ukraine got rid of elections a while back, I believe. And
yeah, Brett Baer confronted him about that. And what he said was that this wasn't anything new for Ukraine. These were laws that were already on the books, that if they're in a war, that there are no elections. And so he didn't take any elections away. This is just what happens in Ukraine.
Yeah. Where I'm at is there was a promise not to move NATO an inch to the east. And now we're at Russia's doorstep. And I think like RFK was saying, if you're going to do any kind of foreign policy, diplomacy, any kind of deals like that, you have to put yourself in the shoes of your adversary. And our adversary right now is looking at us and NATO on their doorstep with defense weapon systems, and they're not going to stand for that. So if the weapon systems were in Mexico, stuff like that, we would do the same thing.
I hear that argument, but the argument from the other side is, well, that was an agreement that was just, it wasn't, I don't know that it was ever in writing. It was just a conversation that they had. But furthermore, it was 50 years ago. How long do you hold these things have any value?
Right. I mean, I watched the Tucker interview with Putin, and he talks about how Putin's been around since the early 2000s, so been president since then. So he's talked to several of the U.S. presidents, talked to George Bush about, I forgot what decision was made. And George Bush basically said, well, I'm going to kick their ass because they're going behind my back and doing that. So really, like, Joe Biden's not running shit in our country. It's the deep state, whoever that is. It's the military industrial complex that's running it. I think they just want more money, and they want to pour money into the war machine.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where are you at on it? Like, do you think we should, like, I don't think
we should not be we should not be involved in the war in any way, shape, or form. I don't know.
And I don't think he's gonna, if I think he takes over those two regions. I think he takes over
I don't think there's anything that's going to stop them short of us getting involved in a world war, short of us like putting our own troops there or to continue funding it or whatever. It's just another Afghanistan. That's the way. If I was in America's shoes and I was saying like, hey, what do we do here? I mean, if Ukraine really doesn't want to be taken by Russia, then they're going to fight to the death. That's exactly what happened in Afghanistan. You know, America came in and said, we're going to take all this shit over. And then the Afghanis were like, no, you're not. They fucking fought back, and they fought back for 30 years until America gave up. And, you know, they had funding from Iran and from whatever and all this stuff. I don't think America should be the benefactor there. If Europe and France and all these other people, if they want to get involved and waste their money, then fucking let them. But I don't think we should be wasting. We've got our own problems here. That's kind of that's my default position on anything to do with foreign policy is we've got our own fucking problems, fix those, and then we can talk about whatever. But at the end of the day, like, it needs to be voluntary. And there's a bunch of like people in America that have volunteered to go over and help the fight in Ukraine. I saw an article this morning. One of them was like Courtney Love's band member or whatever went to go fight in Ukraine. That was something I saw today. I'm sure there's a bunch of other people that are doing that. If they want to do that, more power to them. You want to go fight for some other country, some other land that doesn't matter to you because you want to be virtuous, then fucking go for it. But I don't think we should be involved at all. So taking us out of the situation, if it's just looking at Russia versus Ukraine, who's right and who's wrong, I mean, you don't want to say might is right, but they're going to fucking have their way with them. Like,
I think
yeah.
both sides are wrong. Yeah, no, I think both sides are wrong in this one.
Well, what did Ukraine do that makes them wrong? Because everything that I've seen has been like Russia attacks Ukraine. Like, that's it. So what did Ukraine do to deserve being attacked by Russia?
It was the US and the CIA and NATO. One, NATO encroaching onto Ukraine, and Ukraine pretty much asking to be a part of NATO, or talks about that going on. And then in 2014, when the CIA and the US kind of bolstered the elections in Ukraine and put in this government that's in there now, which is corrupt. So it's a number of things that have just been going on and piling on. It's been provoking Russia, right, this whole time. So NATO started out way over here, and now we're encroaching, and now you're meddling in elections in a former Soviet Union state. I mean, okay, let's just say California seceded, and then China started interfering in those elections, and then putting like weapon systems on little man-made islands outside of China because they like to build, or outside of California because they like to build islands. So they start doing that. Is the U.S. just not going to do anything?
I would say California.
Yeah. So Trump or Biden, whoever's in office, would be like, we're taking California back over, or we're at least taking these main cities over.
California seceded.
Yeah, California seceded, but then a foreign government who's like
California.
Right, I'm with you, but a foreign government that's adverse to the United States as a whole is coming in and be like, ooh.
So what you're saying, I'm just trying to figure out the hypothetical. So California secedes. Somehow that's okay with the rest of the United States. China comes in and says, we're taking California. And America says, China bad. So we're gonna go and fight to take back California.
Yeah, no, let's say China takes over all of California, and let's say San Francisco's okay with that. All the big cities are okay with that. They want to be communist. But then there are like regions of Northern California that are pretty Republican, pretty conservative. And they're like, these Chinese people are taking over. And America's like, okay, we're gonna try to save you. This is from the perspective of Russia, right? I'm not talking about what I
So
think.
what you're saying is like some other foreign interest came in and took Ukraine away from Russia, and Russia's like, "Oh no, we'll come save you." I don't think it's that at all. I think,
but even the ethnically Russian parts of Ukraine, which were on the table to be peacefully, peace talks were on the table, and Boris Johnson came in and halted the peace talk. We could have had a peace deal at the very beginning, where the Donbass region and the other region, where I can't think of the name right now, would have been given over to Russia, and it would have all been over.
And then that was foiled.
And it was foiled by the West and Boris Johnson, which is well documented now.
I think none of that shit is our business. We need to get back.
It's not. And I hope California secedes.
Yeah, it becomes taken over by China, so we can.
I hope they do.
So we can have a real scenario. Hey, look at this. I don't think it's as bad as we thought. 58 to 41. So
I was trying to keep track of it. Hang on.
It looks like she won 3 counties. Or no, 2 counties. I thought that was 3, but there's just a dot in the way. It's only 2.
Okay, so she won Columbia, which is where South Carolina University is, or University of South Carolina. Ryan Binkley with some votes there. We got Jack in the chat saying Ryan Binkley 2024. I'll have to educate myself. I don't really know too much about Binkley.
Who the fuck is Binkley?
Dude, I don't know. Looks like they got Vivek on there holding a strong 0. Haley is getting 61% in Charleston on the coast. See, this is why Democrats play the game. I guarantee you a number of these voters, one, are older Republicans, and they're like, I think Nikki Haley's going to be the candidate this time. And so they vote that way. And then some of them are Democrats who have strategically switched their party affiliation just for this primary. They do it all the time. And it's so easy to change your affiliation.
Apparently, Ryan Binkley is the president and CEO of Generational Group located in Richmond, Texas, with 300 employees. I'm looking at his website. He doesn't seem like anyone. I've literally never heard his name before. Who's this fucking guy?
Is Ryan Binkley some guy we should know about? Is he based? Is he good?
No.
No.
Let's see. Here we go. Let's see what he says about the climate. Our focus should not be on climate policies that cost a lot, deliver a little. In the likely end, it won't work. Rather, we should focus our efforts on developing new technology and innovation. Very standard. Transforming healthcare. Over the last 20 years, healthcare inflation has outpaced regular inflation by 40%. Insurance companies and hospitals work hand in hand, creating virtual monopoly that drives costs through the roof. We can end the healthcare monopoly and put patients back in charge by promoting transparency and real competition. Empower patients and expand their options. What does that mean? All right. What else does he got? What do you see? Got 7-year economic rescue plan. Oh, he's going to save us. What is this?
The economic frailty of our country today is not a Republican or Democratic issue. It is an American issue. We are $32 trillion in debt now. In about 8 years, we're going to be $50 trillion in debt. We saw our country get downgraded in our credit for the second time in U.S. history. I am fighting to save Social Security. I'm fighting to save us from inflation. We have to for your future. We just released a 7-year economic plan because I'm going to fight for a balanced budget. It's time that we do that. I am Ryan Binkley. I'm running for the presidency of the United States.
Yeah, you're going to have to actually look at the plan and see if what he's.
I already know it's bullshit. I already know it's bullshit. Anytime somebody comes out and says that we're going to have a balanced plan, automatic bullshit.
He should pick Vivek. I think he should pick Vivek or I will even say I like the Tulsi. I like the Tulsi pick because I know she's a Democrat or independent now, but her foreign policy is way better than Trump's. It's way better than anyone else who's going to be on that stage.
Who are these random fucking people you're pulling up?
Yeah, this guy's deep. This guy's deep into the conservative.
The Mississippi governor.
I want to see where he's watching from YouTube, so he must be subscribed to us, or we just popped up randomly. Did you know JC in here, or were you just saying hi to him earlier?
I just said
okay, so I don't know either of these people, but thanks for tuning in. Keep the questions coming.
When you put your face as an emoji, good luck getting me to remember. Later on, I'm going to get a message and it's going to be like, hey, I was VC. And it's like, oh, okay, cool.
That's Jesus Christ. Yeah, watch it be Mitch.
Probably.
Yeah. This Q&A session has been brought to you by dog food. I just want to let everyone know. There's
only a joke that you and I got. Nobody else fucking got it.
This is our new sponsor, and we're proud. We're proud. This is generic dog food, and and I think it's gonna be funding our podcast for now until
forever.
Now until maybe a hot chip challenge. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, look, it's right here. Whenever he wants it, it's right here.
Hopefully it's not stale. Hopefully it doesn't go stale.
It doesn't matter if it's stale. It doesn't matter because it's got his name on it. If it'll fucking go through, it's got his name on it. Yeah, I guess. Did you say Tulsi would be a good choice? Is that why he said that?
Yeah, I did. I mean, obviously Tulsi's not the best choice. Obviously, I don't want anyone pushing for any kind of socialist agenda like that. I said mainly for I said mainly for foreign policy, and that's because that's the most important thing going on right now. We're funding 2 wars in Ukraine and in Israel and Gaza, and that's what we have to stop. So
I don't think he's going to choose Tulsi. I don't think it's going to happen. It would be so easy for Dems to paint her as a flip-flopper. I don't think this matters. I really don't. I don't think that politics as it was is as it was like 10, 12 years ago. I don't think it matters anymore. What you're talking about here is like Dems are going to point at Tulsi and say, oh, she's a flip-flopper, don't vote for her. Well, the people that were going to vote for Trump Tulsi ticket, they're Republicans anyways. They're going to vote for the Republican candidate no matter who it is. What you're talking about flip-flopping, you know, being a rhino or whatever, that's the only time it's going to affect any of this stuff. If a candidate says something that contradicts something else that they said in the past, the only way that affects them is within their own party for their own primaries or something like that. Once you pass the primary process and it becomes Republican versus Democrat for the national election, none of that shit fucking matters. That's what I think.
I mean, technically, if we want to be technical about it, I think all presidents going back like very, very far should probably be arrested and put in jail for pretty much war crimes, starting wars. Trump didn't start any new wars, but he didn't end any of the wars we had going on. We had 7 different countries we were bombing at the time. It's like so annoying to me when people say he didn't start any new wars. That's very good. He didn't start any new wars. Why don't we just get out of these countries?
I think most people are going to look at it though and say, despite whatever problems he had, he was better than Biden. So they're going to vote for him anyway.
No, 100%. And like anytime someone's like Biden's better than Trump, I'm like, I don't see them as genuine. I just
that person's full of shit.
Yeah, it's just like a pit in my stomach. It's like they're talking shit. But at the same time,
what about the people who say there's no difference?
I mean, clearly there's a difference, right? There's been a major difference. I mean, Biden did get us out of Afghanistan, though, in the worst way possible, maybe to set us up to go back there. But he got us out, and now we're involved in Ukraine and. So
yeah, I don't think we can go. I don't think we can go back to Afghanistan. We had too much other shit.
I mean, the Taliban's running it pretty good over there, I hear.
I haven't heard anything. You know why? Because I don't fucking care. It's not America.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Tulsi's big thing is foreign policy. And so if you're doing a drone bombing campaign, she's probably going to be calling you a warmonger.
Yep. She called Trump a warmonger too. That's the point of Jack's comment.
So Jack, Trump did appoint John Bolton.
Did.
Can we agree that's bad, right? That is not good.
So it depends, right? If you're appointing John Bolton to say, I agree with this person and everything that they do, I think they have the right idea and we need to attack or whatever. If you're appointing him for that reason, then yeah, you're fucking wrong. But if you're only appointing him for the look of appointing John Bolton. So like if you're Putin, like let's say Rob is Putin and I'm Trump, and I'm going to say, I'm going to appoint John Bolton because I want to scare the shit out of Rob. Rob's not going to know what to think because I just appointed John Bolton, the guy that wants to fucking nuke everybody. Now, as Putin, you're sitting there and like, oh shit, he appointed Bolton. Like, what do I do now? So from my perspective, it depends. Is he appointing Bolton because he wants the image of Bolton, or is he trying to embody him?
That's a very good point. Even if that were true, I
think it is.
I don't like looking at it like that.
I think it's born true in his actions. He didn't start any wars. Like when he had Mad Dog Madison there, everybody said the same thing. Like this guy's going to come in here, he's going to start in all these wars. He wants to fight everybody. And Trump was like, nah, I got my rabid dog on a leash. We're fine.
Yeah. No, I mean, you could be right. But at the same time, why don't we get someone in there who would pull us out of these foreign wars? Why don't we get someone in there who would be better coming from our perspective?
I can't tell if Trump is not smart or if he plays dumb.
No, I think he's smart on some things, but like Dave Smith said, I don't know if it was one of his specials or like his podcast. I think Dave said this about the Putin-Tucker interview. Basically, you can tell Putin has read history. He's read like the historical facts of what's going on. Or no, I don't think he said that about Putin. He said it about someone. The guy who he's talking about, he was like, he's read books on it. He's well educated. Trump has watched a show or like a documentary or like a segment on Fox News about it. And that's where he gets the information from. So I'm not for or against Russia. I'm against this war. I'm not for or against Ukraine. I think I was for the peace talks, though. I was for ending it. Right. Like Trump said, I want people to stop dying. That's all he said. That was how he kicked off his campaign, basically. With who was that? Katie Collins or whatever from CNN. They tried to do the town hall.
My problem with Trump is always going to be the same. He says the right thing, and then he does something different. It's not always the opposite thing, but he always does something different. Like when he said like, you know, we got to take control of the debt and we got to do all this stuff. And then he has like the largest, you know, stimulus bills or whatever. Like he doesn't follow his word. he says a lot of the right things. So like when he says, like, I just don't want people to die. Yeah, but you authorize the killing of other people. So
yeah. Well, let's take COVID, for example. Well, say you had like a principled libertarian in there during COVID. Maybe shit doesn't get shut down and the Fed doesn't print millions and millions of dollars. Instead, he was like, I don't know, we got to shut this shit down. They're telling me we got to shut it down. I think we're going to shut it down.
yeah, I was really surprised at that. I thought he was going to say no, and then he didn't.
Yeah. And then it bit him in the ass because that's kind of what led to the whole everyone staying in, no campaigns, no debates, everyone's mail-in voting. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not trying to put too much blame on him for that. Yeah, I guess, yeah, let's put the blame on him for that. He screwed us over. But I think maybe the Democrats would have showed out. I don't know. Do we blame Trump for that? For not standing up and shutting down the economy in the whole country? At least like Florida, he kind of left it up to the governors in the states a little bit.
Yeah, there was never a national shutdown.
Yeah.
So you can say that much.
It was more for the states to decide. So he did kind of kick it to the states, which is favorable instead of a national shutdown.
Right. I think the stuff he said, like he came out later and was talking about like what a great job he did with warp speed and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as warp speed is concerned, I do think that was the right move. Like, I don't think the government should have been behind it, but to just say like, look, we're going to ease up on all these regulations. I think that was a good idea.
That was a good idea.
Hey, you know what? That kind of bit us too, because we kind of let the regulations go and they stopped doing all their checks, and all of a sudden everybody's got myocarditis.
And then also they kick people out of work, kick people out of restaurants.
That wasn't him, right? That was individual companies and that was states.
Right. But also allowed the whole no liability for any kind of injuries dealing with this thing.
Did he allow that, or was that in place before he got there?
No, I think I mean he was president when the deal was made between whatever governmental entity, maybe the FDA, which is
I think they've always had that. I heard that from Alex Jones a long time ago. Was like,
okay.
like for like flu vaccines and shit like that. There's no liability for them. They can give you whatever flu vaccine they want. It's been shown time and time again, year after year after year. They have no idea what strain of the flu it's going to be.
Right, they base it off of whatever strain's going on in Australia, because they get the first wave.
Right.
Of it.
So they just fucking guess, and then they give you this injection, and there's no liability for them. So if you get sick from it later, you can't sue them. That happened way before fucking COVID.
How can Trump win? Georgia and Arizona used to be easy states for Republicans. What happened? I mean, I think the mail-in voting happened. I think the no debates, everyone kind of shut down. And then also, like, if you're asking me, I really think, like, I watched Dinesh D'Souza's 2000 Mules or whatever. It was definitely a biased documentary, 100% biased towards Republicans. But even, I think in Michigan, weren't like a couple thousand Joe Jorgensen votes like switched over to Democrat, something like that. And all the court cases that Trump's lost, I think courts said all the federal courts said, we're not going to listen to this. It's a political question, which falls under another branch. They don't want to encroach on the executive or the legislative branch of government, so they're not going to hear the case. Even in 2000, when Al Gore and Bush were having their outs, going at each other in courts, there was a guy who testified that the voting machines are easily hackable and untraceable. You can't trace the hacks that he was able to do to the voting machines. And I think everyone went to sleep on election night thinking Trump was going to win. And then there was a jump in a number of different counties that were, Democratic counties. And we saw it happen, like a near vertical jump in all these. I don't know.
I mean, everything that I've seen has favored Trump this year. He asked me what happened in Georgia, or he asked us what happened in Georgia and Arizona. And, he used to win that solid state for Republicans. What happened? I think it still is.
Yeah. I think it is. There's no way you're going to convince me that organically one of the most popular presidents of all time, populist presidents of all time, and Trump was defeated by Joe Biden, who did not campaign. He's not enthusiastic.
And if you ask what about Arizona, I mean, they're all trending the same way. They're all showing the same thing. Yeah. It's all Trump.
Yeah. Now, if something happens similar where they pull off this whole, I don't know. I've looked at election interference, profiles on Twitter or X and whatever. It's like they have some very convincing material on there, and representatives are going up to their city councils and county commissioners and talking about this stuff too. And it's like it should be investigated. Like there's not zero election fraud,
dude. I kind of like, I want to fucking pull this guy on because he keeps throwing out random comments that I don't know how to respond to. What do you mean by that? You say that if Trump would have shut up during the first debate, he would have won. What does that mean? Like the first debate with Joe Biden, if he would have shut up, he would have won? Like, I don't know. I felt that through the entire 2020 campaign, I thought that he was doing a good job. I thought he was giving the right message. I think he was delivering the blows. Going into 2020, the night of 2020, I thought there was no fucking chance in hell that Joe Biden was going to win. And before the big jump happened, I thought for sure, I was like, Trump's winning. This is it. And I think everybody else felt the same way. And that's why they all went to sleep. They're like, this shit is over. They're just not done counting because of COVID.
There's a video out there where like it's a compilation of voting precincts in these major cities that had the jump where they just shut down. They're like, it's pretty much like the same. It's like a same plan. They were like, we're gonna stop counting votes and we're gonna recount at 10 a.m. In all of those places, there was a jump or there was like a switch with the votes.
Right.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying. So there is a video somewhere, and I'm sure I could find it if we were prepared to do an episode about was the election stolen or was it not stolen. And we're gonna get a warning. We're gonna get a YouTube warning because they always.
It's gonna be you again.
They always do that. It's gonna be me again. But like we can get rid of the first warning because we can show them that they're wrong.
They won't.
But
listen.
they won't listen.
Yeah.
They'll never listen to us. The election was stolen. I'll say it. I'll say it.
But it is what it is. You can say it's stolen if you want. It doesn't matter. Joe Biden's the president.
You should have brought more guns to January 6th. That's all I'm saying. No, I'm joking. I'm just joking.
Oh, okay.
I'm joking. Well, it's like I don't know, because when they riot, they don't know what to do with it. Like they're like, oh, this is Capitol. I haven't been here before. It's kind of nice on the inside. And then when the Democrats and BLM riots, they burn everything down except for government buildings. It's like, why are y'all mad at Target? Like, I don't understand.
Because they don't
like, aren't you
an
mad
hour,
at the
dude.
police? Republicans stole elections too.
I definitely agree with that. It happens on both sides, but that's how you play. That's the game. That's the game.
Yeah, steal better. There you go. Steal better.
Well, Bannon basically said that. He was like, look, we got to have people that are going out. If they're going to do ballot harvesting, we got to do it just as good as they do it.
Here's the thing. Young Democrat voters and workers can stuff ballots into the boxes way faster than old Republican grandmas. That's just the name of the game.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Who do you got your money on, Biden or Trump?
Hang on. Let me pull. I would say Trump, but let me pull up Las Vegas odds.
I think it's favoring Trump right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Vegas, whatever they're saying. Vegas election.
You're just gonna bet with the house?
Oh yeah.
Trump will lose again, even if more people want him. I want to say that I'm not convinced, but I was wrong last time. So who knows?
I think if Biden won again, I think that would signal that something's up with the election process. It's kind of like COVID, right? It's like when you watch TV or you listen to like the mainstream news, everyone's like, the vaccines are safe and effective, take this, COVID's killing everybody, this and that, or even like racism and stuff. But then you talk to your friends, you go to like the supermarket and you realize like COVID, you don't really need to take the vaccine, I guess, for some people, or like racism isn't really like that prevalent in everyday life. Like you don't go to the supermarket and you're like, oh, I hate that guy. Like you actually are interacting with people like normal. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't know, because I don't know that.
Or is it because we're in the South? Is it like if we move to like one of these cities, would we be the odd ones out? I think that would be the case too.
I thought the polls were bullshit.
I mean, Hillary was leading in 2016. Hillary was leading every single poll in 2016. See how that turned out?
I don't know. It's a weird year. My money right now is on Trump, but my money was on Trump last time. So take that with whatever it's worth. I think that with Robert Kennedy being in there, I think that that's definitely going to take away from some of Joe Biden. Like I'm already seeing a lot of Democratic people that are saying like, oh, we don't want Biden. He's been bad for us. We got to choose somebody else. You see all these articles that come out pretty much every day now that are like, it's either you have like one of two things. things like why Joe Biden needs to go or why we need to rally behind Joe Biden. So the entire conversation around Joe Biden is whether or not he's fit to run. And people make the same arguments about Trump, but I think it falls on deaf ears. So I'm not really sure that it's impactful anymore.
I'm voting for the Libertarian candidate, whoever that may be.
What if it's Chase Oliver?
I was gonna say if it's Chase Oliver, maybe not, but I would probably still vote for Chase because I think I would vote for RFK if not Chase, and I feel bad about that too.
No, I'll say like ideologically, like there's more common ground with Chase than there is with anybody else. Like if it's Chase and everyone, and Trump and Biden and RFK and all this stuff, there's more common ground with Chase than anybody else.
Yep. No, I definitely agree with that. But if the opportunity presented itself to vote for a Kennedy, and I can say like in my lifetime I voted for a Kennedy, personally, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Why does that matter?
It doesn't. It doesn't matter at all. He's not going to win. He's going to put up way better numbers than our guy is, whoever it's going to be.
So you can say you contributed to that. No one can prove it. And if you try to prove it, you'll be fucking charged with some crime. I don't remember what it is.
I hope Rec gets it, but the way things are going, it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight at the national convention. That's all I can say.
I agree with this, that reparations Kennedy is awful. Basically, the sentiment is Kennedy is bad. I agree with that. Like, I don't know why the LP tried to go after Kennedy. I know why, because they wanted to have those percentages have an L next to them. But
Jack, they already do. It's called affirmative action, buddy. I am so surprised at how close this is. It's not close. It's about 20% difference.
With what?
But still, how is Nikki Haley getting
18%? Yeah.
40% right here.
What was the RCP average?
I'm surprised at how little the turnout is in Columbia, in Richland County. Oh, it says 25% in, 25% in. Trump just went up almost a whole percent.
He's 19 now.
Yeah. So everyone's kind of under halfway in.
Can we do both?
Oh, here we go. 90, 94. Did you just share both? Whoa.
There we go. So
unlocked.
Yeah. On my screen, it is the RCP averages. Had it at 23 was the overall average. 28 is the outlier. 21, 22 is about what they're saying. It should be 21, 22.
Okay.
So if we're at 19 now and it's like what, 25% in, there's still a chance that it could get around there. But I mean, I don't know. If it's any indication, I think it's going well for him.
Yeah. And he's fighting how many court cases? And,
I don't think any of them matter. I really don't.
It doesn't matter. Nikki Haley is establishment as it comes. So she's just not gonna win. She's just not gonna get it. And I want to see what she says after this loss. If she spins it like she's been doing, she keeps on doing these positive spin things, and it's pissing me off. It's like if you're voting for her, can't you see, like, one, if you're voting for her, I'm assuming you're doing it just anti-Trump. But two, don't you see how disingenuous it is? Like after every loss, she's like, "We're doing good." And it's like, you lost terribly.
Like we said in the beginning, no surprise here. He was definitely going to win. The question was by how much. And what I was interested to see was how closely he matched the polls. Because my thing was I wanted to see if they're gauging things accurately. Because if they are gauging things accurately, then that does not look good for Joe Biden. Which would go to say what I said before, is that I think he has a really good shot at winning. But who knows what could happen.
Hope he comes out with a new pair of shoes just for beating Nikki Haley in South Carolina. Not gonna lie, those shoes, he's pandering to the black voters so bad.
Was that Trump that came out with those shoes?
Yeah, the gold Trumps.
I saw something about gold shoes. I didn't know what it was. So that's what it was.
Yeah, hang on. These things, someone was like, we got to get a pair. I think Joe Rogan was like, we got to get a pair of these. Yeah, here you go. Bro, hang on. Yeah, former President Donald Trump made headlines over the week after introducing his new line of signature sneakers at SneakerCon in Philly on Saturday. Yeah, there you go. That's a better look at them. Look at the soles on them. They're kind of tight though.
What, you gonna wear those?
They're kind of tight. No, they're like $9,000 now. You can't wear them.
Oh my God, really?
Well, people bought them out. They were $300. Yeah, some people are selling these things for like $9,000 though.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. I think we got enough stuff for an episode in there.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're not going to see any significant jumps in this election here. I think we can call it. I do have one announcement I'd like to make here. I already announced it on Twitter, so if you follow me on Twitter, you already know if you've seen it, but I will be running for the Libertarian Party National Committee Region 2 position. I want to reiterate this. I was not interested in this position, and I was asked by Mises caucus leadership if I wanted to take this position and run with it, and I said, "Let me get back to you." I thought about it, and I said, "Okay, I'll gladly do it, and take one for the team and see what I can do on the committee." I like to focus on my state here in Florida, but when Heist comes calling, I don't think I could turn him down there. But like I thought about it, and I think I do a good job of representing the region. I'm looking forward to traveling to these different national meetings and seeing what actually goes on at the national committee and working with these people. Yeah, go ahead.
As the Region 2 rep, will you kick out all the lesser states and only approve Alabama, Georgia, and Florida?
Oh, man. 100%. Yeah. And Dave Benner,
yeah, why doesn't
he did a
wanna
great
do it?
job. I don't know why he doesn't want to do it again. I'm gonna have to talk to him after I get done with all my stuff here next week and see if he has any advice for me and what he wants to tell me about the position and stuff and who to know and who to talk to. But I believe the new ones we added Alabama and Mississippi, which I think I voted no. I definitely voted no at the convention last time to put
Josh
them in.
can confirm.
Yeah, I voted no on that, but they're in now, and I'll have to take a look at it. I'll have to talk to the guys. There are some Alabama MECOC that wanted the position as well, and for Region 2, and according to one of our guys, he was a little upset that he didn't get it, I guess. And I reached out to him, asked him to call me. I texted him. He hadn't reached back out yet, so I was gonna wait and reach back out to him. But I'd like to contact with Alabama. I'm in Pensacola, so I'm basically in southern Alabama.
Right.
I can easily make the trip. I'd love to. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe if you help fund my travels, I will consider leaving you in the region.
Give him $50 so he can drive.
Yeah, help me out. I don't know how Dave does it. He said he didn't want any help with funds for the trips, and depending on what kind of job I get here, I won't need any kind of funding, but greatly appreciated to be reimbursed for plane tickets and stuff like that to these national committee positions. I think that's why we don't compete with the Republicans and Democrats. We don't have people getting paid for political work. Everyone doing political work for the most part in the Libertarian Party, they're all volunteers.
I think it goes deeper than that, but we'll save that discussion for a later time.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I think we wrap it here. I think it was good. Next time you have to bring alcohol.
Oh, next time I'm definitely bringing alcohol. That'll be fun to get back on that. And once again, I want to thank our sponsor, Dog Food,
baby.
Thank you so much for sponsoring this show.
Yeah, get your generic dog food at a pet store near you.
Follow me on X and Instagram. I do comedy. Sometimes I'm funny.